Let's talk about how far Democrats are willing to go just to smear Donald Trump. Because this is one of the most, maybe almost the most insulting move that the Democrats have pulled in a long time. And that's saying something. I don't care which political party you're aligned with. You have to recognize this. This week, Democrats on the House Oversight Committee pushed out redacted photos of Trump blacking out some of these women's faces. This is the photo. This is the actual photo. And you can see all of their faces here. But Democrats decided to block out and black out the faces to give it some level of just this trickery, this debauchery. This is Donald Trump at, I want to say, Miss Universe is where he was at. And all those ladies have been interviewed saying Trump was acting gentlemanly. But certain news organizations ran with this without evidence that these images somehow tie him to the list and the island. And the goal was obvious: create suspicion, let the internet fill in the blanks, and hope the damage sticks. You can see it here. But here's the problem for them. When the photos were unredacted, this is what you got. These photos have been around for years. They didn't show anything remotely scandalous. They showed adult women, professional models, at a public event at Mar-a-Lago in the late 90s when Trump was running beauty pageants and owned Miss Universe. One of the women even came forward and said Trump was a gentleman, respectful, polite, nothing inappropriate. So let's be clear. This wasn't some kind of revelation. This wasn't evidence of wrongdoing. This is political theater. And right now, Democrats are really facing some trouble because this is a lawyer. This is a commentator over on MS Now. And people have had enough, and they're demanding that MS Now fire this person. Listen to what she says here.
But Anna, one thing that stands out to me is the people whose faces are not redacted as compared with images where we can see that the women have faces that are redacted or blurred out. That suggests to me that either the estate and or the committee believe that some of these women are either minors and or survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
You see that? You see that photo there? You see the one that they showed you? And then you see the one from the New York Post. You see that? This is how far the news media will go to try to get a gotcha moment on Donald Trump. It gets even better. It's an article from the Post Millennial. Dems share redacted photos of Trump with suntan models in a failed attempt to smear him. Look at the side-by-sides here. Democrat lawmakers circulated the photos. House Oversight Committee, Democrats released the images on a Friday, trying to dominate the news cycle. We have talked about this. That is the way everything happens. When you control the news cycle on a Friday, you dictate every show throughout the weekend. Meet the Depressed, the Sunday morning news. And that's exactly what the Democrats tried to do. They did this on a Friday, and it didn't work. But all of them toe the line in step. Congresswoman Yasamin Ansari sounds like a good American name. Sure, she's an American citizen, not a dual citizen. Vile, disturbing new photos of Trump that raise even more questions, right? Yeah. Another image released by the Democrats to show Trump on a private jet with a blonde woman whose face was also redacted. When asked Friday whether he had seen the photographs, Trump said he had not. There are hundreds and hundreds of photos of people with him, so I know nothing about it. Is this how low they will go? Do you not think that if there was any real evidence tying Donald Trump to any of this, it would have been released whenever he came down the golden escalator in 2016? Am I like crazy for thinking that? Am I completely out to lunch for thinking that Democrats would have never sat on real evidence for the better part of 10 years? As many enemies as Donald Trump has. This is the best that you have? This is all you've got. Okay. Now, I would say one of the real questions I have is, and I'll see if I can find it here. This is the real question I have right here. This is from Roger Stone, Epstein and Bannon. It's important to note that photos of Trump and Epstein released by House Democrats were taken before Epstein was exposed and charged. The photos of Epstein and Steve Bannon, however, were taken after Epstein was actually convicted. And while Bannon was advising Epstein on his public rehabilitation, I think the real question that needs to be directed here is that Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, it's very well known, has about 19 hours of video footage of him trying and interviewing Jeffrey Epstein to help rehabilitate his image. And whenever you're posing in a mirror with that guy, why is Steve Bannon not getting the same, what I would call intrusive reporting as the President of the United States? That's a question you can answer. And please feel free to leave a comment down below. Why is Steve Bannon getting a pass? Why is Bill Clinton getting a pass? It's a very well-known fact that Bill Clinton made trips to that island numerous times. Lolita Express. Ghislaine Maxwell was in his daughter's wedding. But the Clintons, let's just let that fly. Bill Gates, numerous trips. Right? Woody Allen, numerous trips. Why are we focusing on the president? And no one's mentioning these other very powerful men. Very powerful men. Richard Branson. Right? Why? It's because Donald Trump is in power. It's because Donald Trump's the president. And the Democrats will stoop to... It's because Donald Trump is the president. There are so many people hung up with Trump derangement syndrome that they do this. They redact photos that have already been public for 30 years. That's where we're at right now. That's how much the Democrats hate Donald Trump. I believe they fear him more than they hate him. I believe they fear you more than they hate Donald Trump. It's very clear. It's as clear as the photo that's been unredacted. That's what that is. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.